everyone. My name is Neha, and on behalf of VIBGYOR Group of Schools, I extend a very warm welcome to all of you. We are delighted to have you all today here for a special webinar named Nutrition Nuggets for Children, a webinar focused on child nutrition, which is a topic of every parent's concern. We at VIBGYOR completely agree and understand how balanced meals play a crucial role in child's physical and emotional well-being, which also affects its academic performance. As parents, we often worry whether our child's balanced diet is nutritious enough, especially if they are picky eaters. Today, like all of you, I'm personally looking forward to this session as it is aimed to help us parents and caregivers to make informed choices about our child's nutrition. And to guide us today, we have Ms. Bhavya Purani, a certified pediatric nutritionist with over 12 years of experience in early childhood nutrition and parental guidance. Bhavya has worked extensively with families, schools, corporates, and parenting forums. Her approach integrates evidence-based nutritional guidance and empathetic parenting strategies. Along with Bhavya, we'll be diving into topics and she's going to help us understand topics like how to make balanced meals for toddlers and primary students, how to make a picky eater eat vegetables. I'm personally concerned about that. Importance of nutrition in early years, which is a link to gut and brain health, something very important. Impact of ultra-processed foods in crucial years, and the importance and the need to include superfoods in our child's diet, and so on. We truly value all your time and presence with us today, and we hope this session will leave you with valuable takeaways that you can incorporate into your child's daily routine. So without any further delay, I would like to invite Ms. Bhavya Purani to take over. Over to you, Bhavya.
Good evening, everyone, and thank you so much, Neha, for such brief introduction. I'm really delighted to be a part of this session where I have got an opportunity to enlighten all the parents. As nutrition in this particular time is very, very much important. And today's session is all about your kids and how nutrition plays a very important role in their growth and development. They are still right now in the very, very crucial years of their growth and development. Below 16, this nutrition plays a pivotal role in the growth and development. Each and every meal you decide to give it to your child makes or decides them whether you are nourishing them or you're just giving them a calories to fill up their stomach and not giving enough amount of nutrition for their growth and development. So without wasting a lot of time, let's get started with our most important session today, which is on raising healthy eaters, nutrition strategies for toddlers and young children. Okay, so the purpose of the webinar for today is to understand the key principles of child nutrition, how important it is in order to make sure. Okay, is just hold on. I hope the Sian, can you just check in whether we have been able to see the slides?
Participants, are you able to see the slides? Please give a thumbs up or just put it in the chat. Okay, we are getting thumbs ups, Bhavya.
Okay, so we can get started. Okay,
yeah.
So let's first understand the purpose of this webinar. So we are basically going to understand that what are the principles of child nutrition. Why is nutrition so important in those early years? Learn practical tips for feeding toddlers and young children. Now there's a difference when you read out the theories and all the principles, RDA and everything, and there's something that is completely different, because when you have a lot of knowledge but when you put it practically, the response of your toddler or your baby is completely different than what you expect or what has been present in the books. So how to practically deal with the picky eaters or meal rejections, I'll be discussing in detail about it. The third important topic that we are going to address here is the common concerns like picky eating and processed foods. How processed foods have been a major, battle between the child and the mother or as a parent. In today's time, it's one of the most important thing to understand that nutrition is not only important of what you eat, but the kind of stress and other things I've been putting up together. They as a whole have been having whole impact on the growth and development of the child. Then I'll be also discussing on the impact of processed food in early childhood and what is the importance of including superfoods in the diet. There are numerous superfoods that have been present in the market. but which should be included at what age and in how much quantity, how often, each and everything in detail I'll be discussing today. Okay, now before we start digging into, the nutrition, let's understand some basic statistics. This all data, whatever I've been presenting it right now, is backed up by the evidence and all are been cited very well. And this study and this figures, what we are seeing on the slide, are something that have been present on the Indian population, that is the children in between 2 to 12 years of age. This is what the prevalence is, what has been seen. Okay, so now first and the foremost thing, which is the most shocking thing, that every second child in India is anemic and the prevalence is very high in girls. Okay, anemia is one of the most common concern that I come across almost on every of my consultation. Anemia. Okay, so now when we talk about anemia, it is low HB level, that is a hemoglobin level. Okay, because of which hemoglobin is basically required for the oxygen transport to the different parts of our body, and less amount of hemoglobin has been linked with delayed in brain development and multiple other issues. Okay, so in early years, that's one of the major reasons that as soon as a baby's been started with the weaning foods, iron-rich foods are the first thing that have been included to make sure they get enough amount of iron. Anemia, when not corrected in particular period of time, as per the recent research, it has proven to get a prolonged delay in growth and development. And certain changes in the early years when not been met can lead to repercussions in the later stages of the life. Okay, so most important concern is your anemia. In order to come across, or overcome these issues, it is very much important. I'll be discussing in detail that which are the sources and how vegetarian and non-vegetarian foods do play an important role in anemia. In detail, I'll be discussing about anemia, constipation, and other common issues as well. The second prevalence after anemia, which is one of the another most common concerns among this particular age group between 2 to 12, is your calcium deficiency. One of the recent study that was been published, it was been clearly stated that in this particular age group, almost 59.9, that is 60% of the children were deficient in calcium. There's a DEXA, the test that has been done in order to understand. So blood calcium levels, when you check, you might feel that the blood calcium levels are quite normal. But normal calcium levels in the blood aren't an indicator of a good level of calcium. The bone density is one of the most important criteria to be considered in order to understand the calcium. Okay, so I was discussing about vitamin B12. So again, the incidence of vitamin B12 deficiency is also prevalence is quite high. It's 33.4. So one of the major reason is that the amount of probiotics and prebiotics have been not included actively in the children's diet. One of the common source which is easily available in all the homes is your curd. Yogurt is something that has been commercially available, and in that also I see a lot of additives and preservatives and flavors that have been added. What I highly recommend to be included for the vitamin B12 rich source is your normal homemade curd and a non-flavored yogurt. Okay, so yogurt has basically exact those same species of microorganisms, gut bacteria that are required for your gut. So if you see, it's +1 to the curd, but curd is nowhere something that I would say that you should not have it. I highly recommend to continue having curd and giving your children every single day to help them meet up their B12 sources. Folate, selenium, zinc, these are also quite common deficiency that have been seen. In though the prevalence is low, these deficiencies are associated with high incidence of increased incidence of cold and cough in the children, because these are the ways through which the immunity is being developed. Okay, so when you see a child has been getting repeatedly cold and cough, weak immunity, we should get this corrected by including this folate, selenium, and zinc rich sources. Your dark green leafy vegetables, even your legumes, okay, they are also excellent sources. Okay, if you are a vegetarian, you can definitely include eggs because they are not only a good source of vitamins, but they also help in getting good amount of other these vitamins. Okay, which can in turn also help in building up the immunity. Okay, all right. Okay, so now let's understand that what is the impact of nutrition in early years. So one of the most important thing to know in this particular part is the brain growth is achieved by almost
Sorry to
90%
interrupt,
by the age of
Bhavya.
5. Yeah.
Your voice is getting
Yeah.
distorted, and Yeah, I
Oh,
guess there is some connectivity issue at your end. Can you just talk a little slow so that the voice, even if it gets distorted, people will understand what you're trying to say.
okay. So I was just discussing about the impact of nutrition in early years. Okay, as I told that by almost 90% of your brain development happens by the age of 5. So you can imagine that how important is nutrition in those early years. The most important thing to consider in terms of your nutrition is your first 1,000 days, which I keep on telling to all the mothers when planning. In before the conception itself, the role of nutrition gets started, even when the mother is planning for the conception from that particular time, because even before the mother comes to know whether she is pregnant, there are so many at cellular level changes that has happened, and the nutrition status of the mother at that particular stage has a huge role to play on the growth and development of the baby right from the fetal stage. The importance has been always there in terms of your nutrition. So that at the early years, what happens is there's a foundation that has been laid for immunity, metabolism, and learning. So now, when we say the foundation has been found, so in which always tell about that the first 1,000 days play a major role in the foundation of not only for the growth and development for the immunity, because in this early years, whatever nutrition you are going to give it to your children, it is going to be there for lifelong. As per the recent study that was been published, it was a meta-analysis study. Meta-analysis is one of the most strongest form of research. So as per that, it was been clearly stated that almost 80% of the children who had an increased incidence of cold and cough, when they rooted back, it was associated with some or the other micro. I'm not talking about macro. Okay, macro are your carbohydrates, proteins, and fats. Micronutrient deficiency. So your minerals, your vitamins. So this deficiency in the early years was been associated with increased incidence of cold and cough in the children in the later stages of their life. So you can imagine that how each and every nutrient plays an important role in the early years. Okay, so there's a lot of information been also available about the gut and brain connection. Now let's understand this in detail. So your gut is your second brain. Now why is this so important? Okay, there's a very deep connection in between your gut and your brain. Let's understand this in the most basic way. Okay, now we need to understand that why is this gut connection important for your brain development. Within your gut, there are trillions and trillions of good bacteria and bad bacteria. Okay, let's understand this most basic way. When the number of your bad bacteria surpasses the number of good bacteria, and that's the start of your problems like anemia, constipation, hyperacidity. You just say any other issue, okay, IBS. All this are been associated. The primary reason is that the putrefying bacteria or the bad bacteria surpass the number of the good bacteria, and that's the leading start of all the disease. Okay, as soon as the bad microorganisms increase, they reduce absorption. They lead to undigested food remaining in the gut for long hours. They do not allow the absorption of enough amount of nutrients, leading to deficiency, increased incidence of cold and cough. Okay, they are been directly linked with this all kind of mishap that has been happening in the gut. They have been directly linked with up and down of your stress hormones as well, your cortisol and other stress associated hormones are also been increased when you have a misbalance, or you can say imbalance, of the gut microflora. Okay, so you can imagine that any kind of stress, depression, or anything, you just call out the name of a disease, it is associated with gut, because you are at then what to eat. And but practically whatever you're eating, if your gut itself is not absorbing, then your body is not going to respond in a proper way. So gut microbiome has a huge impact on mood, focus, and most importantly in children is learning. If you want your child to have good, you could say, learning skills or the abilities, I would highly recommend to include good amount of probiotics, prebiotics, and symbiotics. So basically, probiotics is a live microorganisms, which is present in your curd and yogurt. Prebiotics is a food to the existing microorganisms, your soluble fiber, okay, which helps in the fiber. Basically, it's a food for the microflora. the existing microflora. So once you nourish the existing microflora, they increase in number. A symbiotic is a combination of a probiotic and a prebiotic. Let's take an example of a raita. So basically, you are giving good amount of fiber, vegetables also to that, like you grate a carrot in the curd. So it's a symbiotic because you're also getting a fiber plus a probiotic. Don't add salt to it; it might reduce the pH and change in the though it increases the acceptability, but it does reduce to a certain extent the microflora. Okay, so basically the foods that are rich in fiber, probiotics and prebiotics can help in improving the gut and brain connection. Okay, so basically when we talk about, what is a balanced meal? So the balanced meal is something, this is quite, all of us know about it, that what does it should contain. So when you say a kind of a superfood or anything, the first and the most basic thing to understand is to make sure that each and every meal, as much as possible, we should try to meet up the RDA. RDA is your recommended dietary allowance. I'll be explaining in detail that how a plate should look like for a children, and how to plan and everything. Okay, so these are the basic components that have been present for your carbohydrates, proteins, healthy fats, vitamins, minerals, and fiber. In this particular time, I see that a lot of parents have been restricting fats. I highly recommend to restrict, but it should not go beyond any particular level. Okay, healthy fats are required. Now within the fats also there are so many bifurcations. Now there are healthy fats and there are unhealthy fats. What are those healthy fats? Under the healthy fats, I would highly recommend to include something like your nut butters. Healthy fats in coming from your nut butters and nuts, they contain a lot of omegas. Omegas are very vital for the brain development. Choline, again, that has been present in the egg, is excellent for the brain development. Unhealthy fats, processed fats that are coming along with a lot of empty calories that has been present in the market, easily available, the junk food, they are a source of empty calories. The term empty calories, it's like you're just getting the calories and zero nutrition. But when you combine it with the healthy fats, something like your nuts and nut butters, your flax seeds, all those are healthy fats because you're not just getting omegas. Along with that, other lot many nutrients, your minerals, and all those things you're getting for a healthy growth and development. So those are the healthy fats, and they should not be restricted in your children's diet. Okay. Vitamins and minerals, there's no point if you're just meeting up the carbohydrates and proteins and fat requirements. That is a macronutrient requirements. You also need a good amount of a micronutrient, that is your vitamins and minerals, because they work hand in hand. If there's good amount of your macro but no micro, then again there is deprived amount of balance or of the nutrients, leading to deprived immunity, constipation, and also overall it leads to other associated issues. Again, most important thing that we have to also consider about the water intake. Yeah, I see that children have been running out here, then the entire day they have been so occupied, they, in spite of meeting up the nutrient requirements, the water requirements have been not met. So very much crucial to make sure that they also meet up the requirements, RDA requirements, for the water itself. Okay, fiber, I have spoken enough about fiber, that how fiber plays a most important role in the gut health. So meeting up the requirements for the fiber is also quite important. Okay, so this is an ideal plate composition that should look like almost 40% of a plate should come from the vegetables. Okay, your different types of your seasonal vegetable. I highly urge parents to include different vegetables. Otherwise, in majority of the houses, what I see, there's only few vegetables that have been selectively available. So now, while discussing this, and hand in hand also, I will tell that why is it important to include this many different types of vegetables in the diet. So there is not one particular vegetable that will give all the nutrients. But when you keep a kind of a change, okay, or else you keep on changing, or else you keep on adding different vegetables, different colors, they are not only the source of different antioxidants coming in, but they are also a source of different nutrients that have been coming in. So it is important that you make sure that you add variety and do not keep it monotonous. For fruits and vegetables, I would still say for protein and grains, even if you keep it monotonous, I'm okay with it. But for antioxidants and for micronutrients, I yeah, I'm connected, right? Am I audible to everyone?
Yes, you are.
Okay, I'll continue. Okay, so even for your grains and proteins, even if you continue the same sources, that's okay. But for your fruits and your vegetables, make sure you add a lot of variety, because the more variety that you're going to add up in the plate, more amount of your antioxidants, more amount of your B complex vitamins, and all those are going to be, at meeting up the RDA requirement. Another important thing to be considered while giving the vegetables, in especially in this rainy season and everything, is that a raw form of any vegetable is something that has high, contamination. So washing them properly or steaming them, or the best way that you can include is steaming them and making a soup out of it. So it is also something that is not only giving, pressure cooking is something that leads to a lot of loss of the nutrients, but steaming it still preserves it, and it is also safe for the children, because it has not been contaminated. Okay, so steaming and giving it in the form of soup is also an excellent way. Fruits, again, you can also incorporate. If you're not being able to include the fruits along with the the standard plate, you can include it in between your meals as well. Okay, grains, all the different grains should be included. What major concern that I always see in the consultations is that the majority of the time parents are only focusing on wheat and rice. We have numerous amount of grains available in the market. Then why are we just focusing on two these grains? I would have been not This would have been not only a part of discussion if those grains were really high in nutrients. They are a staple food. I wouldn't say that you should not include, but they should be included along with other grains in a combination that can help us in meeting up the RDA requirements. That is, RDA is your recommended dietary allowance. So let's say if you're making a chapati, instead of making a whole wheat chapati, you can add a bit of ragi to it, a bit of millet or millets. All the millets can be included, or bajra to it. Okay, there are many other grains that could be included. When now the next important thing that I will be discussing right now is about protein. Protein is the most important part, and it should be included in proper amounts on each and every day. Zero point 0.8 to 1 gram per kg of ideal body weight. That is what the calculation is, what is required. Okay, so if you are not able to meet up the protein requirements, and as per the research, now let me tell you about the recent research that was been done by NIN. Almost 75%. This is not only for the children, this is for all the it's for parents, you as well. 75% of the people which were been included in the study were been not able to meet up even 60% of the requirements of the protein. The problem is that in our entire plate, when we see the entire plate, it's majorly carbohydrates. Okay, your plain chapati. Okay, there's no dairy. Okay, a small amount of vegetable. Okay, and that's it. Where is protein? The only amount of protein that is 1 or 2 grams of protein that is going in roti. And for an adult, at least 60 to 70 grams of proteins are required. So you can see that how much amount of protein is been required versus what we are practically having in the Indian menu. So how can we increase this? Especially if you talk about in the children, including one dairy along with it, like a bowl of curd, a good bowl of curd can be included. And if you're a vegetarian and non-vegetarian, I'll bifurcate this and make you understand. If you're a vegetarian, okay, the best way to include your good amount of your proteins is legumes. But how will you include now legumes? The sad part that comes with the vegetarian sources is that it is a secondary source of protein. Though it is a secondary source of protein, the bioavailability of the protein and other nutrients can be improved by certain process. So first you have to soak it. Okay, whichever legume you are using it, let's say a whole masoor that you're using, soak it. Okay, ferment it. Okay, you can just soak it overnight. The next day you can hang it in the muslin cloth, just sprinkle some water, and then it ferments it. The bioavailability of the nutrients is 3 times higher when you ferment. When you sprout it. So can you imagine the amount of nutrients? One is just consuming it as it is, and one which is giving you triple the value of the nutrients. Vitamin C content is increased, which was 0 initially. So using the grain in the right way also has a huge impact on the growth development and meeting of the requirements. At the back of your mind, you must be thinking, I've given a portion of legume, I've given a portion of curd, so I'm done with the day. But one thing is practically what you're doing, giving, and the other part is practically what your body is getting it. Absorption is one of the important factor that we should consider. Okay, so that's about the balanced meal. Okay, so this are some balanced meal options that I've just given you as an example. Like breakfast could be an oats porridge along with a mashed banana plus boiled egg. So when if you are a vegetarian, I would highly urge to use eggs daily. That's in the form of a boiled egg, or in the form of an omelette, or any form, or else if you add it in the pancake, in any form included. If not, if you're a vegetarian, then paneer can be included in that. A grilled paneer can be given along with that, or a curd. Okay, in that particular way can be given. Okay, to meet up the protein requirements. Because having something like legumes in the morning and for the breakfast becomes a bit, tasks in the morning. Or else, one simple way what you can do is nowadays it's quite easy to get sprouts. So you can get. Let's take an example of a green mung sprout. All that you have to take is take a 1 bowl of green mung sprout, grind it, add a little bit of rava, okay, salt, spices, and everything, okay, and make a pancake or a dosa out of it. Highly nutritious. Can be given along with a coconut chutney or a green chutney like a dosa, or you can make a waffle out of it also, or a pancake. In multiple ways you can include. See, a planning is very much needed in terms of meeting up the nutritional requirements. In many cases, what happens is that the meals have been not planned. Trust me, if you plan a meal for the next week, a week prior, it is much sorted because you have the essential things what are required, and then you can prepare the meals accordingly. You can even the simple way which I commonly tell in my consultations also is that you can simply stick a kind of a menu on your refrigerator or the place where it's been easily accessible, and write it down that what all things are required for the next week. Okay, and that menu can be a static. That can also help very well to understand which is the food group that has been missing. In this week, this group was not met. We make sure that in another week, that particular food group has been included more often. Okay, so we can continue other options that like khichdi with vegetables. So when you prepare khichdi, the portion of dal and rice is very much important. Keep little less of rice and more of dal. Now, do not give it in the form of pulao. That I won't recommend. Now let's understand why not. Since the ancient time, we have this beautiful combination of khichdi, which in which there is dal and rice. So uh, there's one amino acid that is absent in dal, and there's one amino acid that is absent in rice. Okay, and both when had together they become a complementary source of amino acids and making it a balanced source of protein. So if you have rice as it is, there's an amino acid that is lacking and present in the dal, and vice versa. Combining them together can make you a complete source of protein. Combining it along with the vegetables can give you fiber, and curd can give you a source of protein as well, along with a probiotic as well. So that itself is a complete meal if you have been planning to give in the lunch. Dinner, again, roti, dal, sorted spinach can be given. Okay. Again, roti is not, I would recommend that you give it just a plain roti. Okay. Try to give it along with a, good portion of, millets incorporated. So you can make a wheat and ragi roti, a dal. Again, when you give a dal, in many places, I see that the dal is full of water. It should be a thick dal. It should remain in the spoon. That is how it will help in meeting up the requirements. Sorted spinach can help in meeting up some folate requirements. Okay. Okay, for a primary schooler, what you can do is millet dosa. Millets are excellent source of. I would highly recommend to include millets in the diet because they are excellent source of macro and micronutrients. So there's always a gap. Okay, one is this particular meal he has not had properly. I often get this question that one of the meal has been skipped completely and he's been not able to meet up the requirements of that meal. So you can try include more millets in the next meal. That can definitely help in meeting up the gap because they are nutrient dense. Again, for the lunch, since many of them do include vegetable, I've combined a boiled egg. Okay, so again, a source of protein that has been going in along with it, and paneer or tofu cubes if you're a vegetarian, and a fruit. Okay, for the snack, you can again give a roasted chana and a smoothie. Smoothie are a good way for the children who have been not able to sit down at one place and eat anything. So smoothies can be included in their diet, which can help them in meeting up their RDA requirements. Okay, so now let's practically see that how to raise a happy and healthy eaters. Now we have learned a lot that how nutrition plays an important role. All things that are in the theory, now a practical thing comes, that how to raise a happy and healthy eaters. Okay, so now one of the most important thing that we need to understand in terms of raising a happy and healthy eater is that you as a parent are the role models. Okay, so any kind of experience or any kind of thing what you are doing, that is how the child would also want to do it. Okay, so how should our ideal meal environment should be? That's what I'm going to discuss today. So let's take a simple example. When we all the family members are sitting together and eating the meal, that's how you also make it a habit for a toddler or a child to sit along with everyone and have the meal. Okay, you decide what is to be given. Let them decide whether they want to eat it or not. Okay, no matter what kind of a distraction you are giving, no matter with whatever force you are doing it, it is going to last only for next few meals. It's not something, and food is something that you start from the birth till death. It's always going to be there. So establishing a strong and positive relationship with the food is very much important. So you offer them, if they throw a tantrum, if they don't want to eat it, okay, you offer the same after a while and try to role model in the most positive way, okay, so that they are being encouraged to eat. Okay, now this is just one scenario. Before doing this, you'll have to do a lot of things for them to have a good perception about food. Now, how can that happen? Okay, so now involve kids in cooking and grocery shopping. So basically, what happens in majority of the cases is that there is some XYZ menu that has been prepared, and that's how they just get it in front of them. They have been forced to eat. If they don't eat it, a kind of a distraction has been given, and even if they don't eat with a distraction, then some other distraction is given, and the aim of the parent or a caregiver is to just complete that meal. Okay, with all this means what you've been doing it, you might be able to complete that particular meal, but this has led to a negative association with the meal, and it will take a long time for you to revert back. Okay, it will revert back definitely, but it will take little longer time, and you'll have to do this all things in order to make sure that they develop a healthy future relationship with the food. Okay, so involving them in cooking, a simple thing, whenever you have been cooking anything, whether you say a pancake or khichdi, whatever you're involving, just show them that you have been preparing it. Ask them or give them some simple task to do it along with you. Okay, whenever you go for a grocery shopping, okay, you show them what are you been taking, what are the different sections that have been available. Okay, what are the different grains from which sections, how do you select. Okay, a simple activity like all of you, I mean parents of the children who are already going to the school, a simple activity that you can do to encourage them to develop a healthy relationship with the meals is that you can call their friends on home at home for having their meals. Let's say for a lunch or dinner. Let's say the name of the friend is Pooja. Okay, the Pooja is coming for the meal. So, what do you think that Pooja likes to eat? Then the child will think, yeah, I think she gets aloo paratha quite often. I feel Mama she likes aloo paratha a lot. Okay, perfectly all right. Let's plan our menu for her. So, what do you think that we'll be needing in aloo paratha? We'll need aloo, we'll need whole wheat flour. So, basically, what are you doing? You are executing the entire scenario, taking the help, actively involving them, taking them to the grocery shop, making sure that all the things what the child needs to prepare along with you, and involving them. Basically, they are aware about it. Otherwise, in the majority of the cases, they are not aware what food is all about. And then the entire experience can help them, and this should be done repeatedly. That's how can help in developing a healthy relationship with the meals. Another important thing that you can do is simply including bedtime storybooks which are associated with the food. This is a beautiful way to develop a healthy relationship with the meal. So how the food comes from the farm to the table. There are numerous books available on the Amazon can be included. So how the farmer has been involved day and night, been involved into the entire process of harvesting, and so many steps are involved. Then it comes to the market. After coming getting it to the market, then mama gets it from the market and then prepares a meal with you with so much of love and this. So in the form of a story. Okay, this should be in the form of a story. So when you tell it in the form of a story, they try to absorb it much better. Okay, and then that is how the food then comes in front of you. Keep a small gratitude prayer. just before the meal. This also helps a lot. Prepare them for the meals. Okay, just tell them to wash their hands, wash their face, wear a bib if possible. If they're wearing a bib, it's okay. Or respect the food what you eat. When you tell this all things repeatedly, or you start doing it, that's how they would also want to do it. Okay, and once they start doing this, there's also a scientific reason to prepare them before the meals, is that the enzymes are getting activated when they're washing their hands, when they're putting them there, when they're sitting on the high chair or sitting at one place. These all things are making their enzymes get activated, and that's how they'll feel the hunger. And it is more likely that once you form a routine of doing this repeatedly, it is less likely that they would avoid the food that has been given to them. The more kind of options that you give it to them, it is more likely that they are going to reject it more often. Okay, so try to keep a menu which meets up their RDA requirements and be consistent to it. Okay, blend into sauces, parathas, and dosas. Okay, it takes 10 to 15 tries for any for the grown-ups. Okay, for the ones which are below 2 years, 21 trials are required. That too successfully. That is repeatedly you need to give it to them. Okay, another way to meet up the RDA requirements is to add to the smoothies, some nutrient concentrated nutrients that could be added to the smoothies. So when you give smoothie, it should not only be just milk and a fruit. It's a beautiful way to add up the nuts powder. Nut butter can be added to that. Along with that, a pinch of moringa can also be added. Moringa is an excellent source of a lot of nutrients. So an entire one glass can help you meet good amount of the RDA requirements. Trying different textures is also one of the important thing. So basically, many a times I see one entire plate that is completely soft, not different textures that have been included. It's quite monotonous and tiring for a toddler or a child who is so want to know new things and is really excited. Okay, for exploring new things, and giving all three things which are of same texture could be really, you know monotonous for them, and that's how they might reject it. So along with the khichdi and the curd, you can give sweet potato fries, that have been sorted on just a little amount of oil and a pinch of salt. Again, excellent source of beta carotene, something that's crunchy that is coming in between, so they are getting a good flavor of it. Okay, using the fun shapes and presentations all work when your child eats it. Many of the parents do feel that how much we need to do just for them to eat it, but it's really worth doing when your child starts accepting it. A simple pancake given in that particular way, but when given in the star shape, they try to eat it more better. A simple social experiment that was been done. It's really beautiful results that had been showed that a child, whatever has been given at home, he would never like to eat it. And but at the same time, when they visit to a grocery shop or in the malls in a funny way, with those toothpicks that have been given, so they dip it in the sauces and then they give it to try. But they've been really liking to accept it. So now that's a presentation. That's a small portion size, easy to pick up. They have a command of eating on their own. There's all things played. They were not bothered about the taste. It's good or bad. They wanted to try. Okay, so it's all about the presentation, the shape, the way that has been given to them, that creates a lot of curiosity for them. Okay, there are a lot of psychological impact on food choices that should be kept in mind, and there are many myths that have been associated with the food choices. In many a times, I see that foods have been associated with a kind of a reward or punishment. You only serve this good food if you don't do this. You'll be given a reward. You'll be given chocolates if you have been able to complete the assignment. So doing this kind of a things, I highly recommend not to do it, because they have been associating food with pleasure, or they've been associating food with which is something not required for them to do at this young age. Okay, so give them food and make them understand that this food is required for their growth and development. And if they're not been able to get, or just take an example of a role model, that if you want to be as strong as, let's say, a Hanuman or any cartoon character, what they like or what they look up to, you have to eat. Keep them in role model way, which will help you in becoming strong. Tell this repeatedly. Okay, that if you want to be strong, you'll have to include this food in your diet, which will help you in not only becoming strong, but it will also help you to run fast or to do any task any simple way. Okay, give some certain examples. This has to be told repeatedly, and this has been very well proven, tested, and tried. That if you tell them repeatedly about food and their food choices, They will ask you, Mama, is this a good food to eat? Mama, is this not a good food to eat? And trust me, over the period of time, they will learn that what is required to be eaten and what not. Okay. Family meals model good eating habits. Okay. No force feeding. If they want to eat, good enough. If they don't want to, if they choose not to eat, let them go and get back. And once they get back, do not replace it with a snack. This is one of the most common issue that I come that the child is not accepting the food that has been prepared at home, and they want to eat something that is readily available, the chips or anything. This leads to a kind of they're just filling up their stomach. There's zero nutrition that has been going in. This has led to an increased incidence of not only obesity but also syndrome X, which has been quite commonly seen at this early ages and which was not quite common in the earlier times. But this time, all the metabolic disorders are being detected at a very young age, and this environment of eating and availability of so many junk food has led to this particular scenario. Create a positive and stress-free mealtime environment. Again, most important thing. It should, as I told you earlier, you decide what is to be given. Let them decide whether they want to have it or not. You show them you're having the same meal, you're enjoying, you're relishing it. And if when you do this, trust me, the child would be like, if mama and dada are enjoying the meal, I should also go and grab a bite. Okay, so that also plays an important uh, role. Okay, so let's understand that what's the impact of ultra processed food on children. Okay, ultra processed food have first kind of an impact on children. It has been linked to obesity, ADHD, that is your hyperactivity disorders, anxiety, and it not only alters the taste preferences and gut microbiome, but the ultra processed foods on this stage have been led to increased incidence of all kind of diseases. You call it out, even the autism spectrum disease has also been linked with certain kind of food choices on the long run. So I would highly recommend that try to keep this ultra processed food in children as minimal as possible. Once in 15 days or once in 20 days is okay, because now your system has become so strong that it can help in engulfing those processed food and removing it out. But only and only this can happen when your system is strong enough. If your system is not strong enough, those ultra processed food are going to take over their bodies and cause numerous conditions. Okay, so I would highly urge all the parents to keep the ultra processed food as minimal as possible. Okay, I've been so specific. I've been also sharing that how frequently you can have outside meals. Okay, so try to restrict it to having it daily. Okay, safe rule is 1 to 2 times in a week. Okay, now food choices. Now, many a times I see that food choices are also done in a way that if it's 1 or 2 times in a week, it should not be completely loaded with something that is very highly ultra processed or something that is very high in empty calories. Having it 1 or 2 times in a week, having a basic meal that is also outside, and there are many places available out there that wherein it's though it's an outside meal, it is quite healthy, and meeting which can not only you feel good out of having it, but they do not disrupt your entire system or load them with a lot of preservatives and chemicals. So such meal options like a balanced thali can be included in the diet. Okay, another thing that we have to consider is to replace outside meals with a homemade snacks. Okay, kind of a now let's see if you've gone out for a meal or for the entire day. What you can do, at least in between the snack options, you can carry along with you from the home, like your roasted nuts, your chickies, fruit popsicles. Those all things can be carried along with you, and the main meals at 1 or 2 can be had outside if you're out for the entire day. So at least the snacks are healthy. So that and the best part is that those all listed snacks are excellent source of macro and micronutrients, so they can help in bridging up the gap and meeting some amount of nutrients even while you're traveling. Okay, prefer balanced meals over the calorie dense meals options. Okay, now let's discuss in short about the superfoods. There are a lot many superfoods available in the market, okay, but which are actually legit and should be included in the children's diet I'll be discussing today. So why to include them? So if you see a proper, as I told you earlier, a balanced meal plate completely does not meet up the 100% requirement. It is only 60 to 70% bare minimal amount. Even if you have a good portion, only 60 to 70% of the RDA requirements have been met. Okay, so when you have as high as superfoods, at least one or two portions, that bridge, the gap between how much you're actually having and how much your body needs is been able to met. So something as good as your millets, your nuts, nut powders, your nut butters, they're excellent source of all these nutrients, even when had in small quantities. Okay, they not only help in immunity, digestion, and brain development, but they also help to make sure that the child has been able to meet up the RDA requirements, the gap. Okay, now which all some common superfoods are like millets. I've been telling it since the beginning of the session. Your ragi, and there are multiple millets. Your kodo millet, your vineyard millet, pearl millet. These all are excellent source of all the nutrients, and when included in small portions, can help you in meeting up the RDA requirements, and also can help you in giving good amount of antioxidants as well. Now, leafy vegetable powders, why I've added this is that leafy vegetables is one group that I've always seen in children to be avoided because they don't like eating, at the most that one vegetable is palak that has been included, rest all have been, avoided. So you get nowadays since processing has developed quite good, so good amount of leafy vegetable powders like your good amount of your, you get this moringa powder that could be included. Even your nuts powder are also been easily available. That could be added to the smoothies or in the porridges that you have been making it for the children. Spirulina is also one thing good, but it has a little off flavor, so could not be. So just adding it to the dosa batter can also help in meeting up the good RDA requirements, and plus it can also help in meeting good amount of antioxidants. Chia seeds, flax seeds, omegas, excellent source of omegas. So they should be included in the diet. You can add it in the smoothies, or you can also add it in the porridges and give it to them. Or as you can just make it like a mukhwas, just 1 or 2 spoons can be given after the meal. That is also an excellent source for meeting up the omega requirements. Curd and fermented foods, they are gut health boosters, so should be included almost on a daily basis if you're vegetarian or non-vegetarian, irrespective of that. Some of the few recipes that I've included, one of them could be in replacing your normal khichdi with the millet khichdi. Your foxtail, vineyard, and little millets all can be included along with the vegetables and a bowl of curd, a wholesome complete meal. Initially, when you replace it with a normal khichdi, your child is not going to like it. Okay, but adding good amount of spices, adding your vegetables to it, okay, making it little in a way soaking it can make it more soft and easy to absorb. This all things can help in increasing the acceptability, or also not on the one go the child is going to accept it. You'll have to make sure that you give it more repeatedly for them to accept it much better. This is again one thing that you can just prepare it and keep it like mixed seed chutney powder. Chutneys are something that is been always given along with the dosa, which is easy to prepare. So when you make it chutney more nutrient dense, again it can be a good source of meeting up the RDA requirements, and also a lot of superfoods have been included, your chia, flax, and pumpkin seeds. Again, because these all things are important because this, though used in a small quantity, they are excellent source of omegas and minerals and can help in meeting up the RDA requirements. Okay, it's a simple recipe where you're just supposed to roast it, blend it, and store it in an airtight container. When you prepare a coriander or a coconut chutney, you can add this 1 spoon and you are done with it. Fermented millet idlis, again, millets do have some amount of anti-nutritional factors that have been present. When you ferment it, a good amount of those factors have been reduced, and the bioavailability of all these nutrients have been increased. So that is how it could be included in this. So replacing your normal idlis with a fermented millet idlis can definitely help them meet up the uh, requirements. Okay, so this were the simple ways. Okay, so simple ways in which you can include superfoods is what I've told you, that you can include it in the form of your khichdi, you can include it in the form of your dosas, or else you can just blend it along with ferment it, and then you can make a pancake out of it. You can soak it, ferment it, and then blend it, add some vegetables to that, and then make mini uttapams out of it. So there are numerous ways in which you can include the superfoods in the diet. But one thing that you have to make sure is that add variety. Don't keep the menu just the same almost on daily basis. One of the major thing that I've seen in this time is that many a times is the menu is same not only for days but for years. Okay, so this is not what I recommend. Try to keep a variety so that even if through not one source, there are different other sources that are available to meet up the nutrient requirements, which is so crucial in this important years. Okay, so we can now, I hope this session has really helped, and now we can actually get started with the Q&A
Yes.
session.
Yes. So, we have a question here. Miss Neeta is asking, kids start really early for school. So, what food should be given as a around 6:30, 6:45? And if there are any snack options which can be given around 8:15, 8:30 a.m.
Okay, so in such a scenario, see in the morning at 6:30, it becomes a task for the mother also to prepare something. So giving a warm milk along with a nut powder or something like a smoothie, which also has a fruit. So it hardly takes some time for to prepare it, but it's really nutrient dense. And having that just one cup can give you 250, 300 of healthy calories. Or else the overnight soaked oats can also be given. So you soak in overnight oats in the milk. Okay, you just keep it in the fridge in the morning. Just cut an apple or a banana in it and then give it. So this is something simple, quick, and plus helps in meeting up the requirements. And breakfast is something that is most important meal of the day. So if you start healthy, the entire day is going to be healthy. Okay, so so make sure that you give something instead of just letting them go. And along with that, snacks, there are numerous snacks, roasted snacks that could be included in the diet, or multiple things that have been easily available this time. Or else if you have a bit of time to prepare the meals also, then something as good as your sauteed vegetables, okay, or else even your sauteed carrots, these all things can also be included to meet up not only the requirements but also a healthy snacking option.
Lovely. Other parent is asking, Miss Kavita is asking, is it okay to give paneer daily in form of sabzi?
Definitely, if you're a vegetarian, paneer can be safely included. So nowadays, there's a lot of discussion on dairy. So I'll just take two quickly minutes to make you understand about the dairy. So now, adulteration is one of the major reason that has been come across. So there are certain brands, the which are organically been doing it and doing your own research, and then depending on that only that I would recommend that those milk and milk products should be included in the diet and not the random ones. The reason being, and one of the major thing that I highly recommend to the parents is that try to prepare your paneer curd at home. Okay, that's one of the basic thing that I would recommend. Get the milk from an authentic source and prepare the milk products at home. That this is what I highly recommend to all the parents.
A parent is asking whether vegetable powder, you mentioned vegetable
Mhm.
powder, has
Mhm.
same nutrition and minerals as fresh vegetable has.
Okay, so some amount of losses are there. Okay, you can't say it is as good as fresh. So let's take an example of vitamin C, which is highly sensitive. So the moment you cut the lemon, it is so inflammable that it starts losing, okay, in the air. It's as soon as you cut the first cut on the lemon, the vitamin C 50% has been lost. So on each and every step, there is a loss, but something's better than nothing. Okay, and since the sad part that happens with the vegetable green leafy vegetables is that they don't consume the whole entire bowl, but at the same time when they are not consuming that, at least two pinch of that powder will help in meeting the nutrients of other like folate and other nutrients are at least been met. So vitamin C, you can try to include a lemon juice or an grated avla in the water. Numerous other ways. So we have to try and balance to meet up the requirements.
Our parent Pooja is asking whether, like, we hear a lot of different opinions about milk and dairy products
Hmm.
these days. So, is skipping milk or any dairy product is okay? Is it fine?
Okay, now there are two scenarios in this. If you're a vegetarian, then it would become a hell lot of task for you to meet up the RDA. Very, very tough. Very tough until unless you don't include a supplement to it. Because RDA requirements are high, plus you're not having eggs, you're not having meat, you're not having even milk. It is as good as you're vegan. So you'll have to include a protein rich powder. One, second, you'll have to make sure that the other legumes are in quite a lot of quantity, like double the quantity. Okay, in order to meet up the requirements. If you're completely eliminating all these groups, then the quantity of the meals what you have, specifically for the proteins, the legumes will have to be double.
Okay. Uh, food, some food to increase B12, vitamin B12 in diet.
Yes, as I told, a good amount of prebiotics, probiotics, and symbiotics. So your curd, yogurt, kombucha, and kefir, these all are excellent source of your healthy gut flora. So this itself can help you in increasing the B12 levels. Even the fermented foods and your sprouts are also a good source of B12 that can help in replenishing the stores.
Okay. Someone is asking how much non-veg can be consumed, is need to be consumed weekly.
Okay, so if you say eggs, eggs can be included in a child's diet almost daily. One egg can be given healthy enough, 6 grams of proteins, what it gives. One egg gives you 6 grams of proteins. So if he's between 5, 6 years, at least 1/4 of the protein requirement has been met, along with the other healthy nutrients. So one egg could be included. If you're a non-vegetarian, thrice a week, definitely you can include the non-veg, one serving in different ways. Okay, so including it in the right form is also important. Like fishes are a good source of omega-3, but the Indian cooking method, what we do is we keep it as the fish um, on the open tawa that has been frying for hours, for marinated for hours, and so all this, I mean, eliminating the omegas. Steaming is something that what I highly recommend for the non-veg foods. It can help in replenishing the sources and avoid any kind of excess loss of omegas, and can help in meeting up the requirements.
Okay. Any dairy brands that you recommend?
A2 and is what I recommend. What I have used it personally, and there is Pride of Cows. I've see these all brands which I have tried. I have been to their, because this dairy is something is going on since quite a long time. So I need to make sure that whatever I've been recommended is I've been tried, tested. So I've gone to the units and I've really felt that they have been really doing good. So Pride of Cows is also one thing. One I've seen that they have been also working out day and night to make
Okay.
sure the quality is good.
Okay. Uh, a parent is asking, can you please tell omega-3 rich food for kids?
Numerous. If you're a vegetarian and a non-vegetarian, if you're a vegetarian, your flax seeds, walnuts, all the nuts and seeds are a good source of omega-3, along with the nut butters. Okay, they are good sources. Avocado is an excellent source of omega. If it's easily available, try to include it more often. For omega-rich sources, try and avoid a lot of cooking involved. Like if you're giving an avocado in the smoothie, good enough. Give it in the smoothie. That is, heat treatment should not be allowed incorporate with the omega rich sources, because there's a lot of loss.
Okay. I think we are done with all the questions. Parents, do you have any other questions? Or we'll wrap this session up. Okay, there's one question. How many meals we should offer in a day to a 5-year-old?
Okay, for 1 year plus, so obviously that incorporates for the 5 year as well. 3 meals and 2 snacks. Okay, and a glass of milk before the bedtime. This will be good enough in meeting up the day requirements.
How is vegetable powder? How can it be made at home?
Okay, so simple curry leaves, include curry leaves, excellent source of your calcium. If you have good ample amount of space, what you have to do is wash all these vegetables very well. Okay, make sure you wash it 2 times, 3 times. Little amount of vinegar would also be needed to remove all the microorganisms and dirt and flour which has been there in today's available leafy vegetables. After doing that, you make sure you dry them first at the room temperature. Okay, after at the room temperature, then little, do not put it directly under the sunlight, because again it also leads to nutrient loss. So try to keep a thin layer of a cloth, okay, a soft muslin cloth, but they all need to be sterilized now, because otherwise there are microorganisms for the dry sources also, plus the polluted air. So the closed environment is what is required, wherein little fresh air is also easily accessible. Once you do this, they become very crunchy. Like you can just, once they are as dry as when you take it in the hand and just crush it, they are as good as powder. Then you can grind it, and out of this lot of vegetables, only one bottle of powder has been formed. But that itself is an excellent source of a lot of nutrients. So that is how, and then again store it in the airtight container Do not use any kind of moisture to be coming in contact with the powder. Always use the dry spoon, and every time after using it, again close it in a airtight container. That could last for almost a month or two easily.
Okay. Is peanut butter healthy for children?
Definitely, all the nut butters are excellent. So now, in terms of peanut butter, there's a bit tricky thing that I would recommend, that peanut is excellent, but it is also a source of a toxin if not been done in the right way. Okay, so that particular toxin has been linked with many other issues. So one thing that I would say, if you are commercially buying the peanut butter, make sure it is of good brand, good quality, not sweetened. Okay, and plus at the same time, try to keep it at room temperature and try to consume and complete it within the date. Because if you're and second is, if you're preparing at home, make sure the peanuts which you have been selecting are of excellent quality. Because you might see many a times in the peanut there's a black color spots that have been present on the powder. They are the toxins, and those toxins are so bad that they can pass through your blood and brain barrier and can cause a lot of problems. So for nut butter, one specifically for the peanut butter, I would highly recommend that get a brand that has been really known and been using a premium type of quality of peanuts for processing and preparing it, that can be used.
Okay. Uh, Last question. Chocolates are unhealthy, but in case it needs to be given to a child, how much we should give?
Okay, so chocolates in small quantity once in a while, it's not that harmful. Okay, so your choices are important. Like if you say a dark chocolate is anytime healthy for the heart, okay, but it's a task for a child to eat and understand. But if you make a habit of giving them more often, they also develop a taste. They don't like sweet chocolate if you have been given since the beginning. But if you have already introduced, if they are already aware of that sweet flavor, if they are already liking it, then you'll have to restrict it, like once a week, a small piece, just one fourth of a chocolate bar that could be given. And again,
Right.
after just having it, tell them to wash their mouth properly, and all those things are required to be done.
Okay. And what? So now you're talking about peanut butter. The same parent is asking, and you suggest a good brand of peanut butter.
The one which
And
I have used multiple times is Little Joyce. It has little jaggery content in it, but the kind of ingredients that they have been using it is little hygienic, and I've been again done a lot of research and into the plant out of the box to see what exactly they have been doing it. So they are pretty much safe, so that can be included.
okay. And we'll take this last question. Which food the kid should be start of the a kid being starting the day with, and which fruit should be and should fruits be given before or after the meals?
Okay, the first food is very much important because the amount of absorption that first food has it is the best, because your system is waiting, okay, to have it. So including nuts like your almonds, including good amount of your seeds, like a seed powder or something, that would be an excellent way to start your day with. And fruits should be included, can be included along with the meal or as a snack, as I told while discussing the balanced meal. If you're not able to include it along with the meal, include it in between your meal. The reason that it has been given along with the meal is ideally for the healthy skin. You require 3 to 5 servings of the fruit. It becomes a little task to include in between the snack as well. Okay, so you can include it along also or in between the meals also. It's completely safe.
Right. Okay. There's one more question. Can I take it?
Okay, last one.
Okay. Can we include some protein powder also in the diet for overall growth in children?
Okay, so protein powders I recommend only in the situation when I'd have a detailed diet history, whether what are they eating, how much is the protein being met. If even the 70 to 75% of the protein requirements are being met, what I've told in the entire session, even if you look out, I won't recommend a protein powder. But if you're a vegetarian, if you're a vegan, not even having milk and milk products, and that is the time then I would recommend it. Yeah, then you'll have to make sure a vegan source of protein that has to be included either in the in the water, because milk you're not having it, so just water and that protein powder. would be required, because growth, otherwise body is not able to synthesize these nutrients, and they all are dietary essential. So if you're not able to meet up through the food, then definitely a supplement would be required.
Okay. So, thank you so much. This was indeed a very,
Yeah,
very, very insightful session, Bhavya.
really
And with
glad.
that, we come to an end to our insightful webinar. Thank you so much, Bhavya, for helping us understand these many aspects of nutrition and how we can make best of it. Thank you so much, parents, for joining us today. We hope this webinar has given you meaningful insights and practical tips to support your child's health and overall development. And on behalf of VIBGYOR Group of Schools, your participation and engagement means a lot to us. If you have any further questions, you wish to speak to us, please feel free to reach out to us on +91 600 3700. And before you go, we would love to hear your thoughts. Please take a moment and share the feedback form, which is provided in a link. It will help us to create such, beautiful sessions in the future too. Thank you so much once again, Bhavya, to all the participants for being a part of this conversation, and have a wonderful evening ahead. Thank you.
Thank you so much for making me a part of this session. And I really had a nice conversation with all the parents, and I'm really delighted with the session. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Take care. Bye.
Take care, everyone. Have a great weekend ahead. Thank you.